Richard, we're here in the Van Gogh for what promises to be a very popular exhibition here in Amsterdam. It's not like some of the other Impressionist exhibitions that preceded it. It seeks to kind of tell another story. Could you tell us a little about what that story might be?
Well, most Impressionist exhibitions are either about artists or about subjects. We learn about Renoir portraits or Monet or seascapes or the still lifes of Cézanne or whatever. And this is the first exhibition, actually, that's ever been done as a great traveling Impressionist exhibition that's not about subject and not really about one artist or another, but about the central concept of the impression for which the movement was named. Most Impressionist paintings are not impressions. Most Impressionist paintings are labored and carefully worked out and done over quite a long period of time, generally in the field, but they're not simple. But there's a minority discourse, a minority kind of paintings, which really are, or look like they are, painted directly, have a kind of urgency to them that makes us feel as if the artist were with the artist. And those paintings have never been grouped, ever. And it struck me that why not do it to begin with? Because it's most good ideas are simple, and if they're simple, they raise complicated questions, and that's what we wanted to do here. And I wanted it to be an exhibition which was in 3 different kinds of museums. One, the National Gallery in London, which is a museum of great painting, where you can think of gesture in the context of the whole history of art, of Titian and Frans Hals and Rembrandt. This museum is essential for the exhibition because the only painter of the 4 great post-impressionist painters, Seurat, Cézanne, Van Gogh, and Gauguin, who speeded painting up, who took from this kind of painting and exaggerated even, was Van Gogh. And to be able to have these pictures in a museum of the artists who responded the most fervently to them is, I think, essential to an understanding of them. And in the United States, it's in a small museum that specializes in Impressionism. So each place, it will be seen in each place for a different purpose.
Now, we have the tendency to think that Impressionism was only French. Within your exhibition, you've actually included people outside of just that circle of French. And who are these, and who are the people that you've included in your exhibition?
Well, I've included the sort of canonical figures, the major figures. The Impressionists were never called by themselves Impressionists. They were the Anonymous Society of Painters, Engravers, and Sculptors. That was their official name. And they were a quite large group of men and women from various countries. But the core group included 2 foreigners. Then those 2 foreigners were Camille Pissarro, who was born in St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands and was a Danish citizen until he died, was never French, and Alfred Sisley, who, though he grew up in France and lived most of his life in France, was, as you can tell from his name, English. And his parents were English, and he was completely bilingual, and so could be a kind of bring the world of English art and English culture into the Impressionist world. And of course that means, you know, when Van Gogh goes to Paris in 1886, he goes to have dinner with Pissarro, and Pissarro could speak a little Dutch because he came from a trading family and he spoke Danish and French and English and Dutch and a little bit of German. And so there was a sense of internationalism, of being in a European rather than a French world, which made Van Gogh feel very comfortable.
If anything could make him feel comfortable.
Yeah, this is true.
Now, you've included also Degas in here. People think of him more in a mannered way. Did he really paint sketchy paintings too?
Yeah, he did. He painted lots of them, actually. Most of them are unfinished. And a lot of the most freely painted paintings are paintings that were sold after his death in the studio sale and were unfinished. However, he both exhibited sketches and sold them and signed them during the 1870s when the other artists did. And
now, we oftentimes think of Renoir as primarily a painter of these somewhat Fragonard or Boucher women of the 19th century instead. But you've included some very unique Renoirs. Could you tell us a little about Renoir's quick takes?
Well, Renoir is the least known and the least appreciated great painter that France produced in the second half of the 19th century. There is no catalogue raisonné, unlike any other great artist. You can go to the Van Gogh Museum library and look at all the paintings of Sicily and all the paintings of Morisot and all the paintings of Van Gogh and all the paintings of Monet and all the paintings of Pissarro. There's nothing like that for Renoir. And it's because Renoir painted so many late nudes and so many pictures, he lived till 1917, that we now view as being sort of flossy and soft and boring and saccharine, sort of candy-like, that those paintings have completely overcome his reputation. And what I wanted to do is to show Renoir as a really various painter. So there are landscapes, still lifes, genre scenes, a portrait, a self-portrait, which is just stunning, from the Clark Art Institute. And he comes off as, in some ways, the best painter of the group, the painter who had the surest command of the media, of his medium, and who used it with more fluidity and ease, even than Monet. And for me, if this exhibition could do nothing else but restore the reputation of Renoir, it will have succeeded.